Bonjour my loves, I hope you're doing well, I hope you're doing fine. So in today's episode, I've decided to keep it cozy, to keep it more simple, and do with me some coloring books. So this one is so cute and adorable. I found it at Amazon for like $11.99, like such a steal. Like look at the little drawings, so freaking cute. And I also bought these 100 colors for like 30 bucks. Bitch, I'm fired. I don't have cash like that anymore. But it's worth it. So I'm excited to do that with you, and at the same time we could have a little chit chat. So make yourself some coffee, make yourself some tea or matcha. Bring your own coloring book and let's color together. But first, let's choose which drawing I want to color today. Okay, I'm gonna do this one. I recommend you to always put a random piece of paper under your drawing so that the colors doesn't stain. This is so me. It's so adorable. Okay, I'm gonna start with the carrot. I feel like sometimes I get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my god, where do I start? So recently, on Netflix, they released the movie Uglies. And one night I had nothing to do, and I was like, you know what? Let's watch this movie. Plus, it was only an hour and a half. I was like, okay, let's see what's poppin'. Let's see what's going on. I'm a huge fan of like dystopian movies, everything that has to do with like Maze Runner, Divergent, Hunger Games and stuff. Like these types of like movies. I remember in 2014 when it was like more popular to have movies made like that. I was living my best life. And when I saw Uglies and it was kind of reminiscent of that era, I was like, let me give it a chance. You know what? Sometimes when you give a chance to movies, you get disappointed. And that's okay. That's part of the cinema, the full cinema experience. But honestly, like I feel like I'm being like harsh a little. It wasn't that bad. But it wasn't good either. Like it was weird because it felt like it was made like in 2014. It felt outdated. And not outdated because of the genre, but more outdated in like the scripts, the special effects, the budget and stuff. It was kind of lame. Not lame, but like what do you mean Chase Stokes, once he became a quote-unquote pretty, he looked like so bad? He looked like, the doll Ken, like Barbie and Ken? He looked like a Ken who like suffered. Like, no shade. With the blue fake ass like contacts, that was so like And plus the fact that being quote-unquote pretty was just them having like the bold filter off of TikTok. In this movie, we see Keith Power. Keith Power, I feel like.
Listen to me, you're wrong.
And tell me why they've made this man shaved his beard. I didn't even recognize him. In my defense, I've never It sounds weird, and it's like I'm kind of exposing myself, but I've never seen Keith in motion. I've only seen him in pictures. So the whole combination of like him without a beard, him like in motion, and hearing his voice for the first time, like he has like kind of a young voice. Like he doesn't look and sound like a 29, 30 years old. So all these factors, I was like, oh god. And also, why was his t-shirt so long? Like, it was almost a dress, like Ariana Grande dress. Like, what was going on? And I feel like them, well, Joey King being like, oh, but all my life I wanted to be pretty. Like, I only wanted to be pretty and shit. Like, I don't know if it was because of the script, but it was so cringy. I don't know if it's because this movie wasn't made for me. If this movie, I don't know if I would have watched this movie when I was younger, I would have eat that shit up. But like me being 23 years old watching that, I was like, okay, come on, like life is more than that. I don't know, I feel like they didn't adapt it correctly in today's time and in today's generation and stuff. So that was kind of disappointing. And I'm curious to see if they would make a second one, because the end kind of ended on a cliffhanger. Will I watch the second one? Probably. Because I'm a hater at heart and I love her somewhere. Another movie that I've watched recently, when my friend recommended me this movie, I was like, you must be kidding me. Like, there's no way this movie is good. And she's like, yeah, I swear. I've watched it. Why was it good? It was so much better than Uglies. I'm gonna tell you that. The movie is The Thinning. And if you're like, oh, that sounds familiar, because that was the movie. Remember when YouTube Premium, YouTube Movies, YouTube, this was a thing? Well, Mr. Logan Paul was a part of this movie. Not only was he a part of this movie, he was one of the main characters. And alongside Peyton List. And I've watched it on like a streaming on the internet. Why was it good? Why was it so good? And there's also a second one. Usually the follow-up of like a movie is like most of the time really fucking bad. But I really enjoyed it. I've watched both of these movies back to back, and they were only 1 hour and a half each. So watching them back to back, it was like watching a 3-hour movie long, which is in today's time, it's like the norm.
Damn, she's smart.
But it was again another dystopian universe. It was basically like to fight against like the surpopulation of the world. They install a system where from kindergarten to like till you're like 8 in senior year of high school, each year you have to pass a test. If you fail this test, they're gonna take you and kill you. So the only one who are left alive are like the quote-unquote best humans, the smartest, the one who quote-unquote deserves to be alive. And one day, the character played by Logan Paul, his father is actually like the one in charge of that program, and the program, of course, is called The Thinning. And one day, Logan Paul is like, hey, I'm gonna like, and it's not, this is a spoiler-free review. And yeah, the actor playing Logan Paul, the character played by Logan Paul was like, hey, he's like, he wants to revolt against his father because he's tired of his bullshit, blah, 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 blah. So during the test, he purposely fails the test. And once the results were revealed, he surprisingly passed the test. And he did pass the test because actually his father sent someone to exchange the results. So this person exchanged the results of Logan Paul like who purposely failed the exam with the smartest girl like in class, which is played by Peyton List. So Peyton List fails the exam, and they take her and the other students who have failed to get killed. I'm gonna stop the review here, but it was so good. Like, it was only an hour and a half, but no joke, for a full hour, there was like action on action and action. There was not a boring moment, surprisingly again. The other movie that I've watched this time is a horror movie. It's called Long Legs, played by Nicolas Cage, and it was released this summer on July. I expected way better out of this movie, not gonna lie. So basically, the plot line is it's a girl named Lee Harker who investigates on like a case, and the first part of the movie was going on really well. It's like it was basically a police investigation, and I love movies, thrillers, horror movies that are like in a form of like a police investigation. Like, it really like gets me entertained. And the case was basically on a serial killer named, well, it's all fiction of course, named Long Legs. And he would kidnap like teenage girls. So basically around their 14th birthday they would get kidnapped. And the Lee Harker, the one who's like investigating, she has like weird flashbacks, and like she sees like she has like a good intuition, a really really good intuition. But then, by the way, if you're gonna watch this movie, I'm gonna spoil this one. But then, like mid movie, they start to add like paranormal type of shit, and I'm like, why? It was going so good. Like, yes, I love horror movies, but I much more rather them to be like not paranormal linked, not about paranormal, just because in my head, like, I still watch a horror paranormal movie, but it's just like I won't be as scared as if it was just like a human killing other people, because in my head the probabilities of a ghost like haunting me are lower than a man killing me. I choose the ghost. People choosing the bear and I choose the ghost. Anyways. And yeah, in the middle of the movie they started to like add like ghosts and shit, and I was like, you lost me. And plus, the serial killer, aka Nicolas Cage, aka Long Legs, he wasn't even scary. Like, on TikTok, oh my god, why I wanted to watch this movie so bad, it's because on TikTok they marketed the fuck out of this movie, and people were like, oh my god, this is the best horror movie I've seen in 10 years, blah 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 blah. And I was like, are y'all kidding me? First of all, Long Legs, the scary man, was like, literally he looked like an old white woman who did too much Botox. And also, the other element that I really didn't like about this movie is that it was too predictable. And when I watch movies, it's even more surprising, because when I watch movies, like, there's nothing going on in my head. Like, I feel like I don't like try to like make some theories on what will happen and stuff. Like, I just watch the movie. So I always like get surprised and stuff. But this one, even me, I can like predict what is going to happen. Like, it just means that it was too fucking predictable. And like the whole plot twist, because in the middle of the movie we learned that Long Legs had someone to help him during doing all these murders and shit. And like the whole plot twist is that it's the police investigator Lee Harker's mother who was actually helping him. But again, like, it didn't even make sense. So I rate this movie like, honestly, a 5 out of 10. Like, the beginning, the first half was like so good, and I was so into like the police investigation. But once they started adding like, I was like, y'all lost me. And plus, my mom, before starting the movie, I was like, oh my god, there's Nicolas Cage. And she's like, ugh, Nicolas Cage started like being a bad actor like 5 years ago. Like, in my head, I was like, she doesn't know. Girl, she knew. She knew. So I looked at the time, and it's currently 1:22. I've been here drawing and talking to y'all for the last hour and a half. So this is my drawing so far. So cute and adorable. And I feel like I will continue this later on when I need to process feelings. So on that note, I hope you like this video. Have a beautiful night of sleep. I love you. Take care. Au revoir.